I'm joining you from alongside the Pearl River in Guangzhou to give you some new updates on the COVID-19 situation here in Guangzhou. So last time when I did a live increase for a couple of days, and the highest number that we saw for one day was 8 cases. So it was a little bit concerning for a little while, but we have some good news today, and the people of Guangzhou can definitely breathe a sigh of relief, because today there was only one reported case of COVID-19 in Guangzhou, which is why I say that the people of Guangzhou can definitely breathe a sigh of relief for now, because one case, that is excellent news, and that single case was in Liwan district of Guangzhou, which, as we know, has been basically the hotspot of the latest outbreak in Guangzhou. And the person who was confirmed with COVID-19 today was actually a close contact of 2 of the earlier confirmed COVID-19 patients in Guangzhou. So I believe she was a close contact of the 7th and 8th confirmed cases for this outbreak of COVID-19 in Guangzhou. Now, I'm actually beside the Pearl River for a reason, which I'll tell you a little bit about later, which involves somebody swimming their way out of an area that was basically under lockdown, under closed management. But I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. Firstly, I want to update you on the vaccination situation here in Guangzhou, because last time I did a live stream, a lot of people asked questions about how vaccinations are going here in Guangzhou. So as of a couple of days ago, there had been around 14 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines administered in Guangzhou, and around 10 million people had been vaccinated with at least one dose, and around 4 million people had received both doses of a COVID-19 vaccine. So last time we spoke, I told you that the vaccination rate is something that should help make sure that this outbreak does remain minimal. Sorry, I'm just trying to brighten my screen a little bit because it's a bit dark, so I can't see. Okay, that's better. Please let me know if you can hear me okay, if you can see me okay. So yeah, that's the situation with vaccines here in Guangzhou. Unfortunately, due to this latest outbreak, they were not administering vaccines over the recent period, because they wanted to avoid large gatherings of people. But today they started rolling out the vaccine process once again. For now, it's only for people that have received their first dose of a vaccine. So in Guangzhou, if you haven't received your first dose of the vaccine as of today, you cannot begin that vaccination process. But that will change in the near future as the numbers continue to go down. Another update is that, according to epidemiological predictions, there should be no more COVID-19 cases in Guangzhou by June 20th. So that's not that far away. Today is June the 15th. So according to the last estimate that I saw, within 5 days there should be no more COVID-19 cases here in Guangzhou. Also, I want to point out that all of the cases that have been reported recently, or the vast majority of them, were reported from within quarantine or isolation. So they were all amongst people who were close contacts of confirmed cases, and they were either in hospital. They had either been hospitalized or they were in hotel quarantine. So basically, community transmission, the numbers are extremely low. And you know, today waking up, going to work, and finding out all of this new information, it was great to see that there was only one confirmed case here in Guangzhou. The entire Guangdong province reported 2 cases today. So the other case was in Shenzhen. So 2 cases for the entire Guangdong province is really good news, because we just had a 3-day public holiday for Dragon Boat Festival. So a lot of people were a little bit concerned that perhaps due to that public holiday, people maybe wanted to go out and celebrate. They wanted to gather with their friends and family. So people were worried that there could have been a spike in numbers after Dragon Boat Festival. So it is very good to hear today that there was only one confirmed case here in the city of Guangzhou. Now, some of the previous cases that I had told you about, 2 of those cases were among medical personnel in the designated hospital to treat COVID-19 here in Guangzhou. So what they're guessing at the moment is that those 2 individuals were infected with COVID-19 because they were treating patients that have been confirmed as being infected with COVID-19. Now, those 2 people and all of their close contacts are currently under observation and are receiving treatment. Now, that is basically what the numbers are looking like at the moment. But something I want to tell you about is just how seriously police here in Guangzhou are taking all of the rules, all of the precautions. So there are 2 specific examples of this that I want to tell you about today. The first occurred last week, and it was involving an individual surnamed Xiao. That name has kind of become infamous at the moment, because that individual was in a hotel in Guangzhou and was supposed to be tested as a part of the wide testing efforts that were happening in the city. So the personnel went to the hotel, the medical personnel went to the hotel to try and conduct a test on that individual, but unfortunately they weren't willing to cooperate. So after 1 hour of being persuaded to open the door and take a COVID-19 test, the person still wouldn't come out. So the police were called. He was read the rules and regulations that are currently in place in Guangzhou that require people to comply with requests to be tested, etc. And then finally, the person did emerge from their room, but they came out with a metal fork and attacked the police officers that were on site with the metal fork. So that person has been arrested by police and obviously will be dealt with according to the law. Now, a second case involves the Pearl River, which is why I'm, here walking along the Pearl River today. Let me just turn the camera around so you can see what I can see. There's the Canton Tower, Liada Bridge. It's a beautiful day, and as you can see, there are quite a few people out here exercising. Now, the second case involves an individual who decided that they would swim out of an area of Guangzhou that had been placed into controlled management, or in other words, lockdown. So this person decided to swim from one side of the Pearl River to the other side of the Pearl River. So they swam from Liwan district, which, as we know, is one of the hotspots here in Guangzhou for the latest outbreak. They actually swam across the river to Haijiu district, and you know, they were arrested as soon as they got to the other side of the river for not complying with measures, for not staying within the area that they were supposed to be in. Now, as I mentioned in my last live stream, some of these areas, I guess you could say that they are under lockdown, but technically they're under closed management. So that means that you can enter those areas, but you can't leave those areas until those areas stop that closed management system. So another piece of good news for today is that 11 sub-districts or streets or specific locations that had been placed under that closed management mode, from today, those 11 places are starting to lift those measures. So that's also a great piece of news for people here in Guangzhou, because that means that some of the areas that were earlier considered hotspots, now they are actually relaxing those measures. So I'm sure that a lot of people who are in those areas are very excited to get back out into the city. Everyone in those areas will have been tested multiple times. Nucleic acid testing is still occurring here in Guangzhou. Down below from where I live, there is still a booth, a nucleic acid testing booth. You can basically just walk up and get you can get a COVID-19 test for free. It takes a little while for the results to come back. Oh, by the way, last time I did a live stream, I told you that I had actually, I'm going to turn around for a minute if I can figure out how to do that. Last time I did a live stream, I told you that I had done a COVID test, simply because I had received a text message to go and get a COVID-19 test, and that came back negative. So I was very happy about that. Hello Grey Fox, thank you very much for joining this live stream. You've missed a lot of information. Basically, I'll give you a recap. So in Guangzhou today, there was one confirmed case, and there was one confirmed case in Shenzhen. So the numbers are continuing to drop, and there are estimates that by June 20th, there will be no new cases here in Guangzhou. So fingers crossed. It's looking like we may get there. It's looking like we may get there. So basically, in serious circumstances, the police will definitely arrest you if you make a scene, or for example in that episode with Xiao, who actually attacked police officers because he was refusing to take a COVID-19 test. In that case, then you will get in trouble with the police. Also, that individual that swam out of an area that was under closed management, literally swam across the Pearl River, that individual will also, he's been arrested and will be dealt with according to the law. Now, according to that person who swam across the river, he wasn't trying to escape the lockdown area. What he was trying to do was prove to his co-workers that he could make the swim. So I think, hello Alyong, g'day mate, thank you very much. So I think that just goes to show that if you are in lockdown, or if you're in somewhere that, you know, has these restrictions, if you are stuck there for a number of days, maybe you can go a little bit crazy and do some stupid things. So once again, vaccines, There have been around 14 million doses administered in Guangzhou as of a couple of days ago. During the latest outbreak, they paused the vaccination rollout because they didn't want a lot of people gathering. As of today, they've started that rollout once again, but only for people receiving their second doses. So people who have not received their first dose yet, they'll have to wait a little bit longer to start that process. But all of these are promising signs. It looks like things are slowly improving here in Guangzhou. As you can see, we've got some guys fishing here along the Pearl River. It's a beautiful day here in Guangzhou, although it is pretty hot. It's I think it's past 6 p.m. now, and it's 33 degrees. So wearing a mask really is quite uncomfortable. Yeah, those are the main updates that I can think of that I wanted to share with you today. Some of the strict measures are still in place at the moment. So for example, most communities in Guangzhou still do not allow door-to-door deliveries. So most deliveries are left downstairs, go down to the front gate of your community to pick up those deliveries. Also, a new update since I last spoke with you on my last live stream. Tianhe district still remains the only district in Guangzhou that is allowing dine-in services at restaurants and at bars, but they have introduced a 10 p.m. curfew. So everything needs to be shut by 10 p.m. All restaurants, bars, snack bars, everything like that, they have to make sure that all of their patrons are out by 10 p.m. and police are strictly enforcing that rule. So it is, you know, even though things are looking up and some of the measures are being relaxed, currently most measures are still in place for the safety of everybody. Now, I do have some slightly negative news to share with you today. That is because there are two areas in Bayun district that have had their risk levels increased from low risk to medium risk, and also there was two areas of Huangpu that upgraded their risk level from low to medium risk. So even though 11 areas have started to relax their closed off management restrictions, today there were 4 areas of the city that had their risk levels increased from low to medium. So probably that's the only piece of negative news that I have for you today. Everything else is looking on the up and up. Everything else is looking really positive. I'm just gonna flip the camera around so you can once again see what I see. It is a very nice day here in Guangzhou, and as you can see, a lot of people are out and about on the street enjoying an afternoon walk along the Pearl River or running. Geez, I don't know if I could be running in 33 degree heat. I checked the temperature just before I started this live stream and it was 33 degrees Celsius. So now I have been tested around 6 times in the last 2 weeks, and I'm planning to go and get another test this Friday. So I'm still, even though things are looking up, I think it's still better to be on the safe side. I'd rather be safe than sorry. And as you can see, everyone is wearing a mask. Everybody is still, you know, playing it safe. Some people perhaps aren't wearing masks if they're riding bikes or doing strenuous exercise in ventilated areas. But most of the time, if you are not wearing a mask in public and a police officer spots you, then they will remind you to wear a mask. So authorities here in Guangzhou definitely taking this very seriously. They're not joking around. It's actually my birthday tomorrow, so I had a couple of drinks and dinner with friends yesterday at a restaurant and bar in Tianhe district, because obviously here in Tianhe district the risk level is very low, and restaurants and bars are still open. But you know, at 10 p.m. or 9:55 p.m. we had to make sure that we vacated the premises, because police definitely are enforcing that 10 p.m. curfew for restaurants and bars seriously. So here in Tianhe district, after 10 p.m. basically everything is closed apart from convenience stores. No bars, no restaurants, no entertainment venues. Things like cinemas are still closed. Indoor entertainment venues are still closed, including internet cafes, which I had no idea still existed. I didn't know that people still went to internet cafes. Outdoor BYO, that is a good question. I guess if you went to a convenience store, bought some snacks and some drinks, and you wanted to go to a public space like this, I guess that would be okay. As I said, restaurants, as I said in my last live stream, restaurants in Tianhe have to cap their customer numbers at 50% of their usual capacity. Also, a big piece of news that just came out today, as we all know, in China, exams are a massive deal. So we just had the Gaokao, which obviously Chinese people know that, you know, the Gaokao is probably the most intense and important exam that they'll take in their lives. That went off without a hitch. There were a couple of students who completed the exam from inside a hospital because they were either residents of areas that had been closed off or close contacts of people who were close contacts of people with COVID-19. So they weren't allowed into the exam venues. They had to complete the exam at the hospital. They set up this system where the invigilators could watch the students from a separate room via video camera, because obviously with such important exams you need invigilators. And they were also accompanied by nurses as well while they completed the exam. But the piece of news that just came out today is that the high school entrance exam in Guangzhou has been postponed. So usually that would take place in June as well. It's been postponed now until July, simply out of an abundance of caution, because you know, exams gather a lot of people together, and they are just worried about the risk of cross-infection. Even though things are improving here in Guangzhou, health and safety, especially for kids, you know, I can't think of anything more important. So even though the exam is you know, important, they're going to put it off until July. So the exact date has not been announced yet. They've just announced that the previously set June date has been postponed, and the exact date of the high school entrance examinations will be announced at a later date. I'm just coming up on this really nice bridge. Let me see if I can show you. Ooh, sun's a bit bright. I love bringing Mei Ling for walks here. She absolutely loves it. This is another part of Liede district, Zhujiangyu town. And I just got a dongle, which I'm not really good at using just yet. But here we can see Canton Tower and the Pearl River in Guangzhou. So, if you have any questions about what's been happening here in Guangzhou, don't hesitate to ask. Please leave a question in the live chat and I'll try and answer as best I can if I have the information. And I'm sweating like a pig now. It's a really hot day today. Thank you very much for everybody wishing me a happy birthday. It is my birthday tomorrow. I did originally want to plan something special for my birthday, but because of COVID-19 I think it's best just to keep things quiet and perhaps stay at home and maybe spoil myself with a nice bottle of wine or something like that. You know, recently with the Dragon Boat Festival, everyone in Guangzhou and Foshan were encouraged to stay put in the city. For Dragon Boat Festival, actually the rest of China, apart from Guangdong, reported record tourism levels and like billions of dollars of tourism revenue. But unfortunately for us here in Guangdong, in order to leave the province via Shenzhen, via Foshan or Guangzhou, currently we need a nucleic acid test that has been conducted within 48 hours. So that measure is still in place. Thank you very much for the birthday wish. If you're watching, the best thing you could do for my birthday is to give me a like, a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. Special day, good luck to you. Thank you very much. I hope it goes well. Actually, I have a couple of friends who did surprise me with a little gathering over the weekend. It was COVID safe. It was within the limitation according to how many people are allowed to gather, and it was at a private residence, so it was all above board, COVID safe, and it was actually the first surprise birthday that I've ever had in my life. So I was super excited about that. And you know, over the weekend we were a little bit concerned just with Dragon Boat Festival, worried that people would still travel even though they'd been advised to stay home. Obviously travel is not banned out of Guangzhou or out of Guangdong province. You just need that nucleic acid test in order to leave Guangdong province and travel to other provinces in China via Foshan or Guangzhou. But hopefully those restrictions will be eased. They are talking about relaxing restrictions appropriately as time goes by, because numbers are declining, and as I mentioned last time, there has been widespread testing in Guangzhou, Foshan, Dongguan, Shenzhen, all of the major cities in Guangdong, as well as a lot of the smaller cities as well. And you know, today feeling much better about the whole situation, because with that widespread testing, if there was a massive amount of cases, people would have been identified through that. So it's great to see that you know, everyone in Guangzhou came together, and we've got it down to one case today. One case in Shenzhen, one case in Guangzhou. Hopefully that trend will continue, or well, I mean, hopefully it will get better. So hopefully we'll be able to say that there were no confirmed cases in Guangdong in the near future. In the last live stream that I did, I said the same thing. We're nearly there. We're nearly there. We just need to pull through and sort of, keep our guard up for a little bit longer, and hopefully things will get better. I don't know if you can see, but yes, I am sweating. It is really hot here in Guangzhou. I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see what I see while I wipe some of this sweat off my face. Downtown Guangzhou, yeah, the traffic is still still pretty busy. During the Dragon Boat Festival, there was literally no traffic on the road, so it was quite obvious that people were, adhering to the call to stay home during Dragon Boat Festival, because my usual commute to work, yes, I had to work over the holiday, because even though everyone's on holiday, the news never sleeps. So my commute to work, which usually takes around 30 or 35 minutes depending on what the traffic is doing, took around, less than 15 minutes to get to work. So that just shows you that the amount of people on the streets was much lower than usual. Now, travel within the province was still permitted by a private car, but the rules with the health codes and everything like that still applied to intercity travel on, for example, the train or long distance buses, but people were still allowed to travel in private cars. So obviously some people would have traveled over the Dragon Boat Festival, but most people that I know at least decided to stay in Guangzhou for the holiday, just to be safe. And I think that small sacrifice, it's probably paid off now with these low numbers that we are seeing. So hopefully tomorrow, fingers crossed, there'll be 0 confirmed cases. Obviously we can't guarantee that is going to happen, but hopefully tomorrow the numbers will continue to stay low, and that the prediction that there'll be no new cases in Guangzhou by December 20 will in fact come true. So fingers crossed for that. Everyone, if there's anyone in Guangzhou here who's watching this live stream, I'd be happy to hear about what it's like in your part of the city. For me here in Tianhe district, this entire time, life has felt pretty much normal. Apart from, the stricter measures. For example, the community that I live in is not allowing anyone into the community who's not a resident of the community without a nucleic acid test that shows that they have been tested within 72 hours. So on WeChat, after you do a nucleic acid test, once the result has been released, you'll get a little logo, a little purple logo that either has the number 48 or the number 72 on it. So it's easy for people to check those health codes. If it's 48, that means that you are allowed to travel outside of the province via plane or via train. If it's 72 hours, then it means that you can enter certain areas that are requiring nucleic acid test results. So yeah, my next test is going to be, I'm just going to take a seat because walking around is a little bit tiring. My next test is going to be on Friday. So I'm going to get tested once again on Friday. Tomorrow it's my birthday, so I think I'm just going to either stay home and have a nice glass of wine, or yeah, cooler. Yeah, well, it's really hot today. Yeah, have a nice glass of wine, or yeah, if any of my friends are in the area, I might meet up with them. But obviously, you know, during this time here in Guangzhou, even though I'd love to do something really special for my birthday, unfortunately it's just off the cards, and I can totally understand why. Because, you know, it's better to be safe than sorry, and I wouldn't want to put any of my friends in danger either. So I'm just happy to have a quiet one tomorrow. I've never been the kind of person that sort of, you know, celebrates their birthday anyway. Usually with my close friends and colleagues, I try to pretend as if it's just another normal day, because I don't really like the attention, and I feel a bit awkward, you know, because to me it is just another day. But yeah, with close friends and you know, the people that you care about, it is nice to do something for your birthday. Unfortunately, currently it looks like there will be no major changes between today and tomorrow in terms of the current restrictions that are in place here in Guangzhou. So if you're just joining in on the live stream, I will recap some of the numbers. So today in Guangdong province, 2 cases were reported. One was reported in Shenzhen, the other was reported here in Guangzhou. The case in Guangzhou was identified in a 75-year-old woman who was already in isolation because she was a close contact of the 7th and the 8th confirmed COVID-19 patients as part of this outbreak. So it wasn't like someone was just identified in the community, you know, out walking around the city. They were in isolation. That's the case in Guangzhou. I don't have any specific information about the case in Shenzhen at the moment. But yeah, so only 1 case today in Guangzhou, which is a very good sign. We're all very happy about that. People can breathe a sigh of relief. I think when I went into work late last week, and I was just talking to my colleagues about the situation in Guangzhou, and you know, everybody was still slightly nervous. People weren't, you know, freaking out or anything like that, but they were slightly nervous, just because, you know, it seemed that there were new cases popping up every day, and we would obviously like to see no cases. But today when I went to work and spoke to everyone, because everyone was there, we just finished a 3-day public holiday, everyone was really excited to see that new number of 1 case in Guangzhou, and also the 11 sub-districts or streets or localized areas that had begun to lift restrictions as of today, meaning that the authorities here in Guangzhou have decided that those areas are now considered safe. So that has been a process of mass testing, contact tracing, and people really have put in a huge effort to make sure that... I'm just stepping down some massive steps at the moment. Hope I don't trip over and make a fool of myself. So yeah, I guess I just want to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to everybody who has made that happen here in Guangzhou. So a lot of medics, a lot of doctors, they've been working overtime. They've put in a lot of effort to make sure that all the tests were done. There you go, you can see the Canton Tower. They put in a lot of effort to make sure that all of those tests were completed. Obviously, a lot of volunteers have got in on the action as well, and have been delivering necessities to people in those areas of the city that were under closed off management. There's a lot more I could tell you. For example, a lot of technology has been used during this outbreak to deliver things to people who are in isolation, including driverless cars, drones, all that kind of thing. And even though the mass testing phase is kind of over right now, testing is still available for anybody who wants it. The government is still sending out text messages to people if they have been in the vicinity of an area where there was either a confirmed case or a suspected case of COVID-19, and the people who receive those text messages still need to go and get tested. That's why testing stations are still open in many parts of the city. But obviously now that things are starting to settle down in Guangzhou and the numbers are decreasing, it's looking like we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So fingers crossed that that is in fact true, and hopefully within a couple of days I'll do another live stream, maybe from a different part of the city, and I'll give you some more updates about what is happening here in Guangzhou. Because obviously this has been my home for 10 years. I really do care about what happens here in the city, and so it has been truly sad to see that everyone in Guangzhou has had to go through this. It's been quite a stressful time. Last time I did a live stream, I told you that a similar thing had happened in Melbourne, Australia, but since then the lockdown has ended in Victoria, although I think there is one residential complex in Victoria, in Melbourne, that is still under lockdown, because there have been consequently there have been two further positive cases that were identified in that residential complex. So yeah, obviously it's sad for me when I see the same thing happening in Melbourne, a city I love in Australia, and also in my Chinese home here in Guangzhou. So I think that's all of the information that I can provide today. Once again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the live chat. Otherwise, I'll bring this live stream to an end, and I will definitely do another live stream later in the week to give you further updates about what is happening here in Guangzhou, Guangdong province. Just to finish, the city is not in lockdown. There are parts of the city that are under closed management, effectively lockdowns, but they are localized lockdowns. So the entire city is definitely not under a lockdown, and things are looking better. So numbers are going down, and hopefully in a couple of days, when I do another live stream to update you on the latest information, then I can tell you that there are 0 cases for that day. So fingers crossed. Once again, the prediction is that there should be no new cases in Guangzhou by June 20th. So I sincerely hope that happens, that by June 20th, Guangzhou will be entirely COVID free. Obviously, people will still be recovering from infections, but if we can get down to 0 daily cases, that would be the ideal outcome, and life can slowly return back to normal here in Guangzhou. So thank you everybody who has joined me for this live stream. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for the birthday wishes for tomorrow. Very kind of you all. And once again, we're coming up on 45 minutes, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll try and give you as much information as possible. Once again, sometimes it's hard to sort of cram so much information into your mind. So yeah, hopefully for people, you know, outside of China who may come from Guangzhou, who may be worried about what's going on, I hope this live stream can at least sort of help them relax a little bit and not worry about their family and friends here in Guangzhou. So yes, I will do more live streams. This time around it was a lot smoother because I bought myself a dongle, I think that's what it's called, or a gimbal. So I'm not very good with technology.
Hello?
But yeah, hello. To end this live stream, I'm just going to turn the camera around once again and give you a look at the view. It's a nice day. Beautiful day here in Guangzhou. Although I'd enjoy it a lot more if it wasn't so hot. Alright, thanks guys for joining. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.